Mr. Farage is back in the news. Who would have thought it? And he's back in the news. Piers Morgan has ushered him back in with a little film which he's found of Mr. Farage slagging off Donald Trump. And it seems to have occurred at that point when Farage was in the States running around the place talking about Trump, my friend. Well, you know, if you have a friend like Farage, as evidenced by this little clip, then you really don't want to have enemies. I think if I'm correct in saying what Farage was saying was, well, he doesn't like his agenda and his manner. He find it pretty worrying. And, you know, it's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. So this is what he says about his friends. Or maybe he changed his mind. The reason that I resigned, whatever reason I joined UKIP really to see whether or not it was racist, and I found that it was. But the reason I gave for resigning was also, I think, fairly solid and fairly truthful. I felt that the party was not doing the right thing. I felt that it was not behaving with consistency and integrity, and that I could not possibly stand there when a line was crossed. That line was the racist line, and I expected a senior politician to then draw a line and make a stand. Farage didn't, but Farage could make a stand and slag off Trump when he felt that it was going to attract some sort of attention. It didn't attract attention there; it attracts attention now. I think another person who talks about integrity and seems to walk the walk is Chris Bryant. And Chris Bryant was speaking in Parliament yesterday during the debate about whether Boris has misled the House. Now, Chris Bryant is a fellow who chairs the Standards Committee, and although he is Labour, there's a number of Conservatives on that committee, so they would be the people who would then look into Boris's behaviour should the House judge that necessary. Trust is bound up with integrity, and this is what Chris Bryant was saying. So how can you trust a Prime Minister if his integrity is in question? And if that Prime Minister is going to stand up and say, well, we need you to cut back, we need you to face the difficulties of not having enough money around the place. We need you to face the difficulties of dealing with the Ukraine situation. How can we trust a Prime Minister who calls on the people to take these difficult steps if we do not think he has integrity, and therefore how can we trust him? I thought it was quite interesting. Chris Bryant has now said that he would stand down from the Standards Committee as a Labour MP if he was expected to make a judgment about a sitting Conservative Prime Minister. And this in response to the cry of bias from Jacob Rees-Mogg. I think actually Chris Bryant would be an ideal person to remain in that position. He already talks about fair, consensual, and evidence-based examinations and testimony. I think he's the right person to do the job. I think he's got the right approach. It doesn't matter which side of the House he's on. And for that matter, I think Mr. Farage has shown his hand beautifully. He will say anything for a good headline.